Students, how are you all? Welcome to my class, that is social. So today I am going to continue with my same lesson, that is the Mughals and the Marathas. So today I am going to explain you all about the Akbar. So Akbar, the most famous Mughal king. Akbar was born in Amarkot in Sindh. That means he is born in India itself only. Humayun was his father. Who is the father of Akbar? That is Humayun. And when Akbar assumed power, he was only 14 years old. After the death of Humayun, Hemu, he is the military general of Bengal king, that is Muhammad Shah Abdalis. Hemu is a military general of Muhammad Shah Abdali. This person, what he did, he opposed and conquered, attacked Delhi and Agra when Akbar ascended the throne of the Mughal dynasty. And due to this led to a terrific battle at Panipat in 1556 CE between Hemu, who is the general, military general of Muhammad Shah Abdali. So between this person Hemu and the Mughals. And this battle of Panipat, this battle is known as the second battle of Panipat. So the first battle of Panipat in 1526 CE between the Babur and the Ibrahim Lodi. The second battle of Panipat between the Hemu and the Mughal kings. And in this battle, Akbar emerged victorious. His Prime Minister and the royal representative, that is Bairam Khan, came to Akbar's assistance during the war. With the help of large army and Akbar conquered some of the territories. Those are Malwa, Jaipur, Gondawan, Chittor, Ranthambore, Kalinjar, Gujarat and Bengal. And the Battle of Haldighati is one of the most significant battles in the history of the medieval India. After the death of, that is, Chittor king, that is Rana Uday Singh. After the death of Rana Uday Singh, he is the king of Chittor. His son Rana Pratap Singh came to power. So at that time, what happened? Akbar sent his powerful army under the leadership, that is General Man Singh and Afas Khan, to fight against Rana Pratap. So in the battle of Haldighati, again the Mughal army was victorious. After that, after beating Rana Pratap Singh in Udaighat battle, again he conquered some of the places. Akbar, the remaining states of Kashmir, Sindh, Orissa, Balochistan, Khaddar and Ahmednagar came under the control of the Akbar. So this is about the Akbar. And the next, Akbar's religious policies. Akbar could break the chains of authorities due to his close interaction, relation with his mother, teachers, Sufi saints. Authorities, the one who still used to believe the old traditions, culture. He had break the chains. And not only that, he even had allowed his Rajput wives to perform pujas in his palace. He had ordered against harassing women and children of enemy states. He had also ordered not to arrest the Hindus who did not take part in wars and turned them into slaves. He also ordered against the conversion of the such Hindus into Islam. So not to do all these things in his kingdom. And he totally abolished jizya, head tax on the Hindus. Not only that, he even translated the Hindu religious books into Persian language. And he showed a lot of respect towards the one who highly qualified Hindus. Not only that, he even appointed them in his kingdom with the high position. Raja Todarmal was a famous finance minister. Bhagwan Das, Man Singh, Todarmal and the Rai Singh were governors. And Akbar directed that he ordered that the festivals of Rakhi, Deepavali and Shivratri should be celebrated in his court. So these are the religious policies of Akbar. Next, Deen-e-Ilahi. It is a new religion. Akbar established a new religion, that is Deen-e-Ilahi, in 1582. This religion was a result of discussion held at Ibadat Khan, where all religious people like Hindus, Jains, Zoroastrians and Christians used to participate. Abdul Fazl was the chief architect of this religion. This new religion, it believed in only one God, one culture and one behavior. So this is the Deen-e-Ilahi, a new religion. The next one, Akbar's administrative system. Akbar had divided his kingdom into central government, provincial government and parganas. Akbar was the emperor of a vast, that is a very large kingdom. The commandant of his army, head of the executive and head of the judiciary. That means all in soul, ultimate supreme power was in the hands of the Akbar. And there were 4 ministers called Wakil, Diwan, Mir Bakshi and main Sardar to assist him in the administration. And there were infantry, cavalry, elephant units and even the cannon units in the Mughal army. And there was a separate department to stamp the horses known as Dag Mahali. So this is about the administration. The next about the revenue. Revenue, this is one of the important achievements of the Akbar's administration. And they used the bamboo for measuring, the bamboo sticks for measuring the lands, and with iron hooks were used to measure the land, and was classified as Polaj, Parati, Chachar and Banjar based on the fertility of the soil. Each farmer was given a patta. Police system during Akbar's time was well organized. Akbar encouraged even art and architecture too. The important monuments in Fatehpur Sikri are Khwaja Bagh and Dakhtar Khana, Jodhabad Palace, Daulat Khana, Panch Mahal, Birbal House, Kabultar Khana, etc. are the magnificent monuments of the time of the Akbar. After Akbar, his elder son, that is Jahangir, came to power. His son Jahangir, he also worked on the footprints of his father Akbar. He also provided a good administration and continued all the policies attack on Mewar ruler in 1613 CE and defeated him. After him, his son, that is Shah Jahan, came to power. So this is about the Akbar religious policy, Deen-e-Ilahi, Akbar's administrative system and the revenue system. So in the next class, again I am going to continue with my same lesson students. If you have any queries, any doubt, you all can ask me. I will clarify you. Thank you so much.